going to start with a thought whether these lines are correct. Do you really see that there is a role of strategic planning in organizational management? Do you agree to this line? I mean, I have a question to ask, because I am going to challenge myself first by asking a question to my own self. Is there something wrong with this topic? If there is anybody who says there's something wrong with this topic, I'll be happy if he puts his hands up. No hands going up means everybody seems to be pretty okay that the topic is right. But I still see a few unsure faces whether it's correct or not correct. Okay, doesn't matter. We'll proceed further and then we'll perhaps try to figure out whether this topic is really correct. Is there a role of strategic planning as far as organizational transformation is concerned, or it is not? I have put a title there saying transforming the organization, and there's this picture you see which generally talks in normal parlance of English language as the transformation from a simple mammal to a human being or an ape, whatever you could call that. Do you agree that this is transformation of an organization? How many of you agree and how many of you don't? Anybody who agrees? Everybody agrees?
Yes, sir.
I disagree. Friends, this is organizational development. This is not organizational transformation. Today's topic is not organizational development. It is organizational transformation. See, organizational development is something which is very organic. I take a small sapling, I plant it, keep giving it manure, keep giving it water, and the plant grows gradually, which is a very organic process, right? Like I build an organization, I start making profits, I pour back my profit, again the next year the organization grows little by little. That's called organic growth of an organization. This picture denotes what is organic. Now I'll show you what is transformation. Can you see something here? Can you see something here? This is transformation of an organization. You are all people in a hurry. You want a finished baked product immediately. Somebody who was maybe at that stage of being a lizard, a very simple mammal there, and you want him to walk straight. It is like doing a surgery. It is like doing a surgery. It's not like doing an OPD treatment. OPD treatment is in an outpatient department. You take a patient, the doctor says, okay, I'll give you a few pills, take them for 10 days, come back to me in case you're fine. If you're not fine, we'll again change the medicine, we'll give you something else. Transformation doesn't wait for an OPD. It calls for surgery. And friends, you all are aware, surgery is not a pleasant affair at all. Surgeries are painful. Do you all agree? Surgeries are painful. Surgeries need quite a few inputs into it, Like you need the person who's going to operate, that's the surgeon. You're going to need somebody who's going to be a physician who says that, okay, he's good for surgery. There's going to be then a physiotherapist, an anesthetist, there's going to be a pathologist. There are going to be so many people involved. So this transformational surgery is not going to be a simple surgery. So primarily the first myth was shattered when organizational development and organizational transformation had to be separated out, right? There is another term which people use for transformation and which is called re-engineering. Okay, everybody must have read in books. If you have not, perhaps pick this word. Today the more fashionable word which the Americans have come out with is re-engineering. Americans have a fancy to come out with words which are slightly different from what the usual British words are. They typically want to call them in different words. Their language parlance, their jargon is a little different. So Organizational re-engineering and organizational transformation basically mean the same or not? They mean the same. Organizational re-engineering and organizational transformation mean the same. Now, organizational transformation is a process to help businesses successfully change themselves when you are reorganizing your business or you are implementing a widespread business process change. There's a complete process change that you want, or while you are pursuing new strategic directions. I'll explain to this in a detailed way. This is more academic than being more practical, but then do look at the academic side, because I just discussed with Dr. Chodia that we will have to build in a little bit of academics also when we get to be practically quoting a few things. What does it need? Organizational transformation, most important is it needs a new vision. If we say we have Suryadatta Institute here in town and we want to completely kind of repackage the entire curriculum, it will mean that Dr. Chodia will have to come with a completely different vision. Dr. Chodia travels to MIT, he travels to Harvard, he travels to Kellogg's and maybe some other institutes in the world. He comes back with a renewed vision. And when he comes back with a renewed vision, he will definitely want a complete paradigm change in the institute, and that kind of a paradigm change which he can cause will be a transformation. That transformation will need a vision. It will need a proven process. You cannot simply do a transformation or a surgery by saying, I believe this could possibly happen. काट के तो देख लेते हैं भैया. Can you do that? Can you? Can you play with lives of people? You can't. So that is why I'll always keep saying transformation, re-engineering is equivalent to surgery. It has to have a proven process. Unless you don't have a proven process, please don't go for organization, transformation or re-engineering. It needs an orderly, controlled and systematic fashion to effect transition. So it needs a lot of discipline. Let's put it very short. It needs a lot of discipline. And current state, it is a transition from the current state to a desired future state. We saw a mammal and we saw the animal, the ape there. So from the current state to a desired future state, not giving scope for all those intermediate steps, because you are people who want that kind of a result coming in very quickly. And why those kind of results will be required very quickly, maybe the next slide will show that. Then we can basically skip this, but we'll definitely look at this. It is to bring about a dramatic improvement in performance. A dramatic improvement in performance can always come only because of change. Nothing is going to happen in a plain, simple, vanilla way. It's going to be a little difficult, and it's going to be with a lot of painful things which eventually go around that word change. Okay? Friends, there is something called a 3C which actually compels you to go in for a transformation. I'm sure this is all there in the books. There's nothing new that I'm pointing out of this. Customers, competition, and change are the three things which are actually going to compel you to transform yourself. Your customer is becoming increasingly demanding, your competition is becoming increasingly fierce, and change. The environment in which you're doing business today is not the same environment in which you did business earlier. So as managers, it's going to be a big challenge to you. If you're talking about the decades of the 1950s, 60s, 70s, managers were at peace with themselves. rarely did any kind of a paradigm shift take place. Everybody just had a product, the same assembly line, the same machines, and all that they had to do was increase their productivity. Nobody spoke about anything else besides increasing the productivity through that man and the machine. So all that everybody wanted in those quarterly review meetings was how many more number of pieces can you possibly come out with. But that brought about a lethargy with the leadership also. Because nothing new was happening. Business was being done in the same fashion. Globally there was nothing more challenging. It's not just a factor which was happening in India, it was happening all over the West. You take some of those very, very developed countries also. A similar kind of a phenomena was happening in those 3 decades when very little change was taking place and management complacency was taking place. And leaders didn't feel that there was a need to change. But now, as IT came in, the real transformation process has started. It's thanks to IT which has actually started making us sleepless. Literally sleepless, because people now work through the night hours because it's day in the US. So virtually, it's now been a world which is working on 24 hours. Change is what is the complete essence of this organizational transformation. Now let's see what are the practical reasons which I am going to speak out of my experience in industry. And I am going to couple my experience in industry with what I have gathered out of my own academic pursuits. So it's going to be a mixture and a blend of both, so that it makes a holistic kind of a sense to you. Just talking about stories may possibly not suffice for this kind of a gathering, because then I need to also impart something which is underlying to that. So we'll have a blend of both. When organizational changes were slower than the changes outside the organization, transformation was required. The ownership of an organization felt that we are too slow to react. Maybe your suppliers were growing faster than you. They were getting smarter than you. And you as a consumer of those particular items which were actually being supplied to you were rather slow to react. Your supplier came and told, "Sam, आपका जो ये डिजाइन है, ये तो हम तीन साल पहले छोड़ चुके हैं. अब तो हमारा नया डिजाइन आ गया है." But there is somebody yet manufacturing something using those old kind of gears and still making his own living. But you realize that life is not going to remain for long. He is going to see his Waterloo very soon. You all know what Waterloo means. At the Battle of Waterloo, who met with his end? That's right. So we don't want to meet with our end with the Waterloo here. Because of compelling market conditions. Market conditions have become so demanding now that I have to ensure that my customer is satisfied. So far we gave what we felt the customer needed, rather than giving what we should have understood the customer needed. We always gave what we felt was right. That is not the way. The world today would not work in that fashion. If you start giving something which you feel is right, the customer would say, "Thank you, bye-bye. I'll go to somebody else next door who gives me something which I want." Take the case of masala dosa. Take the case of idli. If the sambar is not to your liking, you're just going to walk out of that restaurant and go to some other place. You say, "Boss, I need something which is to my liking." So everybody has kind of put his requirements absolutely in order. And if compelling market conditions are going to be required to have a change in you, it is going to need a transformational change, because the time at hand is too small. Every company wants to grow, and there are private investors who are wanting to invest with you. These are lines which will not be seen in books, so don't search for them in the books also. When an investor comes in with a proposal to invest with you, he says, "I want an organization which is a world-class organization. he says, I want an organization which has a better productivity. And I don't want a complacent organization which has so much of human resource which is sitting idle and which is not giving the